I'm Nick Alcock. I want to speak a little bit about how felony cases work in Arizona. So if you've been charged with a felony, there are a number of different ways that those felonies can be handled. And it just depends on how you were originally charged. So many cases people are asked to go to the RCC, or the Regional Court Center. And there's one in downtown Phoenix, and then there's another one out in Mesa. And that is typically for lower level offenses. It's typically for cases that don't involve injured victims or very serious felonies. And it's one of those situations where you show up and the prosecutor is going to offer you a plea agreement, and then you have a certain amount of time to consider that plea agreement. And if you don't want to take the plea agreement, then the case would then proceed to Superior Court. So if you have to go to the Regional Court Center, you can expect to show up there. They're going to give you two dates. One's going to be a status conference, and one will be a preliminary hearing. And at the status conference, you should have access to the police reports. You should be able to know what type of plea offer is being made. And then the prosecutor will give you a certain amount of time to consider whether or not you should take that deal. There are a number of instances where you should take a plea agreement at the RCC level. There are many, many instances where a prosecutor will make a very favorable plea offer at the very beginning of the case. However, we've also noticed that once you set a case at trial, and if there are really triable issues in the case, and if there are motions that need to be filed, and if you really want to fight your case, then maybe you shouldn't take a plea agreement at the RCC level. Because at the RCC level, there are so many things that an attorney cannot do. An attorney cannot file your typical motions to dismiss or suppress evidence. They can't go to trial. And if you set the case for a preliminary hearing, which is like a mini trial to determine whether or not there's some evidence against you, what they do typically is they will vacate the preliminary hearing and send your case to the grand jury. So our hands are really tied at the RCC level. There's not a lot that can happen, and so if you have to go to the RCC, expect that essentially it's like a mediation. It's an opportunity for you to look at the evidence and consider a plea agreement. If you don't want to take the plea agreement, you're going to get sent up to the next level. The next setting is basically another status conference, and it's called IPTC. It's initial pretrial conference, and at that point, the judge is going to want to know, okay, have you discussed the evidence? Have you discussed the case with your client, attorneys? Where are we going with this case? Is there going to be a plea agreement? What's going on? From there, a status conference is set, usually about 45 days later. At that point is typically the plea cutoff deadline. So if you are inclined to take a deal, and we get this all the time where people will come to us very, very late in the game, and their case has been going on for months and months, and the status conference has come and gone. That may have been the last opportunity for you to take a plea agreement. So if you are arrested with a felony and you're in a situation where you have to go to court, I really urge you, if you want to hire a private attorney, don't wait until the case is set to trial. Because once it's set to trial, it might be too late for us to file motions to dismiss the case, suppress evidence, and get the interviews done and do everything that we need to do. After the status conference, a trial management conference is set, and usually the trial follows immediately afterwards. It is relatively difficult to continue a trial for a long period of time. So if you're thinking, you know what, I know there's a trial date in a month, I'm going to ask my attorney to continue it so I can get more time, so I can consider my options. Don't count on that, because it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as just asking a judge for more time, because there are a lot of cases that go through the felony system, and there's a lot of pressure on judges to hear those cases and get them over with. So just asking for more time for no particular reason other than you want to hire a private attorney probably isn't going to work so well. The whole experience of being charged with a felony, you can count on taking about 4 or 5 months. And after that, it's anybody's guess. For very, very serious offenses, those people tend to face a different time schedule. And that's for complex cases. That's if there's a huge number of witnesses or very complex scientific evidence that needs to be examined. Something about the case is really, really unusual. And if that is the case, then those time limits really stretch well past 120 or 160 days. And you can look at a case for example, a capital case involving death penalty can go on for years and years. But that's not how a typical felony is handled. Every case is different, obviously, and if you are facing a felony in Arizona, we offer a free consultation. Our number is 602-989-5000. That's 602-989-5000. Happy to speak with you over the phone. You can come in, I can take a look at your paperwork and give you an idea as to what it is that you're facing. We also respond text messages, so if you want to text me at 602-568-2000, 568-2000. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So thank you so much for watching. Hope that we can help you.